Hey everyone, today we're going to be creating a Froot Loops cereal drip cake. Let's get started. First things first, we have to take the cakes out of the pans. We have 4 layers on this cake, starting with a blue layer, and then a purple, a green, and then a yellow. I'm using a ruler to make sure that I notch level all of my layers so that each layer is exactly even. I use a serrated knife to make sure that I can cut through without squishing the layer as it goes. And I'm going to repeat this for all 4 layers. Now that all of the cakes are out of their pans, I'm using a little bit of buttercream to adhere the first layer of cake to the cake board. And I'll be using dollops of vanilla buttercream to fill this particular cake, and spreading that out evenly and making sure that even the buttercream is level. If the buttercream is a little bit higher on one side than the other, you'll find that the entire cake will start to slope to one side, and obviously that does not make for a very appealing cake or stable cake. So everything has to be level from the cake itself to the layers of buttercream between them. When you have your final layer of cake on, it's another opportunity to ensure that every layer of cake is even. You can use your ruler to do this, as I am doing, or you can use a 90-degree angle ruler that you might find at a hardware store. It's at this point that you'll want to put your cake in the fridge for the first time. It should stay there about 10 minutes or so until the cake layers are a little bit more sturdy. The vanilla buttercream, or whatever flavor of buttercream you happen to be using, it will set up a little bit during that time, and it will help the cake layers to avoid moving around as you put pressure on during your crumb coat. A crumb coat is a really important stage in cake decorating because it not only locks in all the moisture, but it keeps all the crumbs inside so that you don't end up with little cake flecks in your final layer of buttercream. When the crumb coat has been chilled enough that when you tap it, it doesn't come off on your finger, you can finish with your final coat of buttercream. You'll want to get a very even layer of buttercream all the way around the cake from top to bottom. When that's happened, you can take your bench scraper or any kind of large spatula that you want and create as smooth a surface as possible. There are plenty of new modern tools that you can buy that create really interesting textures, and there are a lot of interesting Pinteresty sort of ways to create interesting textures yourself with the tools that you might already have at home. For example, a knife or a spoon. Depending on your stage of perfectionism, this particular step might take a little bit of time. If you see any gaps or air pockets, just go ahead and fill those in with a little bit of extra buttercream and use your bench scraper as level as possible and go around another time to create the nice, smooth surface that we're looking for. When your cake is satisfactorily smooth, you'll want to use your palette knife to, little by little, drag the buttercream in towards the center of the cake and wipe off the excess each time. It will leave you with a really crisp top edge. And Now here's the colorful part. I took some Froot Loops cereal and put it in my food processor until about half of it was powder and half of it was just chunky pieces. I'm using my hand to push that up against the bottom edge of the cake, and the buttercream is still a little bit tacky, it's still a little bit wet, I haven't chilled it thoroughly, so it's acting like a glue to really hold those pieces of cereal onto the cake. But I am going to still use my palette knife to make sure that I push it all in ever so slightly, just to make sure that it's evenly distributed and you don't have pieces that are about to fall off, because they will fall off in transport. I think this looks pretty great just as is, but I want to make it a little bit extra special. So I'm using these kebab skewers to support the weight and stabilize a cereal treat cereal bowl that I'm adding to the top of the cake as an interesting feature. I'll be filling this cereal bowl with Froot Loops, and the milk that we'll be using in this instance will be white chocolate ganache, and will create a drip effect over the bowl itself and over one portion of the side of the cake. When the ganache is on the cake, you can add your Froot Loops on right away to make sure they get stuck to the ganache before it has a chance to set. This will make sure that the Froot Loops actually stay on the cake, especially if you're transporting. This is a very important step. You can arrange them in any pattern that you like, and that's pretty much it. You're done. Thank you so much for watching this Froot Loops cake video tutorial. Please like my Facebook page at The Mixed Baking Company, and please follow me on Instagram at The Mixed Baking Co. Have a great day, everyone.